Right, the first thing that we're going to look at is adding and subtracting polynomials. To add a polynomial, all you're going to do is combine the like terms. Remember, a like term means it's got the same variable, and that variable has the same exponent, so everything must match. So let's say, for example, we have the expression x cubed minus 7x squared plus 3x minus 1. And we're going to add that to the polynomial 5x cubed plus 6x squared minus 3. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to combine our like terms. So I'm going to identify which terms are alike. So I'm going to first start by saying, okay, well, I've got an x cubed here. I've got another x cubed here. Notice I've got the same variable with the same exponent. So what that means is now I can combine their coefficients. Coefficient just means number in front. So I've got a 5 in front of this x cubed here. And here, remember, if there's nothing there, it's like there's a 1 sitting out there. So I'm going to combine those like terms together. So when I take my 1x cubed and combine it with my 5x cubed, I'm going to end up with 6x cubed. So let's find some other like terms here. We've got a negative 7x squared and a positive 6x squared. Same variable, same exponent. So when I look at their coefficients, I have a negative 7 and a positive 6 is going to make a negative 1x squared. Remember, I don't have to write the 1, but I could if I would like to. And then our last like pairs is actually going to be our negative 1 and our negative 3. So I notice that this 3x doesn't have anything alike with it, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to combine it with anything else because there's nothing alike. My last like terms, then my negative 1 and my negative 3, combining those would give me a negative 4. So now I've got my expression where I've combined all my like terms, which means I've added those polynomials. So now we want to see what's going to happen when we subtract polynomials. For this, I need to distribute a negative 1, which all that means is I'm going to change the signs of every value after the subtraction. Then I'm going to combine my like terms. So let's say, for example, we had an expression where we had 2x to the 4th minus 7x cubed plus 3x squared minus 9. We're going to subtract 4x cubed plus 5x squared minus 2x plus 3. So the first thing that I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to distribute this negative right here because it's really like a negative 1 out here. So what that means is I'm going to change this sign. Will become a negative 4x cubed. Will become a negative 5x squared. Will become a positive 2x. And will become a negative 3. Now I didn't do anything to the first set or the first polynomial, so I'm just going to leave this alone. And now I can go ahead, sorry, this 4 is a little bit big. Now I can go ahead and combine my like terms. So the first thing that I see is a 2x to the 4th. There's nothing alike, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Then I come across, I've got a negative 7x cubed. And I see I've got a negative 4x cubed, which is going to leave me with negative 11x cubed. The next thing that I see is a 3x squared, which can be combined with my negative 5x squared, which will leave me with negative 2x squared. Now, one thing that I should be noticing is that when I look at these, I'm descending in order. What that means is that, notice the first number that I went to was my x fourth, and then my x cubed, and then my x squared. So what would come next would be my x. But I notice that the only thing that I have there is a 2x. There's nothing else to combine with it. So I'm just going to leave it alone. And then the last thing that I see would be my negative 9 and my negative 3, which is going to give me a negative 12. So now I see my polynomial. All right, so let's just go ahead and try to make sure that we've really got it, got a good understanding of what we're doing. So first one is addition. I'm going to combine my like terms. So remember, descending order, I want the highest exponent going first. First thing I see is my 3x squared, nothing to combine, so I leave it alone. Next thing I see is my 4x. So I've got a negative 4x combined with a positive 2, which gives me negative 2x. And the last thing I see is a 6 and a negative 9, which gives me negative 3. Right? The next one is going to be my subtraction. So I'm going to take this negative, pretending it's a negative 1, and I'm going to distribute it. So it's really going to become a negative 4x cubed, a positive 7x, and a negative 8. Leave that first polynomial alone because I didn't do anything with it. Then I'm going to combine my like terms. So I'm going to take my cubes together. So I'm going to have 9 minus 4, which is going to give me 5x cubed. I'm going to have negative 5x squared, nothing else to combine with that, so I leave it alone. I'm going to have a 2x and a 7x, gives me 9x. And then finally, I'm going to have my negative 1 and my negative 8, which gives me a negative 9. And then I have my simplified polynomial.